I've been dreading making this video because it means when I'm done with it, I have to send these back to their rightful owners. Mista Filedo, he's a patron, a fan of, or a follower of the podcast, and a very generous guy, sent me these to check out. And he also sent a box with the Millet torrent. So he listened to me talk about how much I wanted to check out a torrent, how much I wanted to check out a Winkler, how much I wanted to check out this knife, which he actually even gifted me for my birthday, which was so generous. And he sent them all in a box for me to check out earlier this summer. And I've had them for a while, and now I have to send them back. Otherwise, you know what happens. Barnacles start to grow on them, and they start to get assimilated into the ecosystem down here. So I got to send them back. Thank you for this Perpetua. What a cool knife. I'm going to do a full-on review of this. It is really great. I love it. It's become one of my favorite EDC knives since I've gotten it. And it's one I always wanted, and then kind of kicked myself when I learned that they were no longer available from Mass Drop. Okay, so these are about these Winkler knives. Chief among them here, the Striker Survival Knife. But first, let me show you these other cool implements he sent along. These are also Winkler knives. They're also hardened, 80 CRV2 steel. And they're little combat implements. First of all, gorgeous sheath. All of these sheaths are really, really nice. I mean, this whole clip system it's a lot. But for the people who are actually, no one's trying to put this in their waistband. This is about clipping it to load-bearing equipment, that kind of thing. It's an amazing sheath. All of these sheaths are for different reasons. But this is like some pry bar screwdriver shank. You know, it could be used for all three of those things. It's an octagon, I think. Yeah, it's octagonal. It's got a really short, thin sides, but no edge. And it's got this, I don't know what the hell this is. I think it's micarta, maybe. Maybe it's like paper micarta. I don't see any weave in that. And then jimping and little hex cutout there. And it feels really good in hand. I mean, if you needed to pry, paint cans, no, if you needed to really pry something here, Winkler knives. If you really needed to pry something serious, this would be great. This would be great. I mean, you could probably, I don't know, this seems like it's really strong. I can't imagine what would break this. I'm not sure what you could pry, like how far up. You definitely pry open crates and that kind of thing. Maybe there's plywood over a window, or 2x4s over a window. I feel like you could do a lot of prying with this. You could also do some screw driving, and you could do some shanking. Pretty cool tool. I really like it. There you go. That's the first one. You know what? I'll leave this out so we can gaze upon its utility. Here we have similar sheath, that clip system. Pretty cool. You know what, guys, I know sometimes I make these fixed blade knife reviews and I forget to talk about the sheaths. And then afterward, I'm like, I'm not redoing it. But so this one, really, again, a great little sheath for the purpose of holding this friendly little fellow. This is a pick. I'm calling it a battle pick because it is also 80 CRV2. It is also octagonal. But the point, as you can see, is quite a bit more acute. This, I would imagine, has a lot of legitimate uses, legitimate outside of the legitimate use of using it as a weapon. But I don't know what those are. Maybe it's for pushing also, besides being a weapon, because I recognize it as such. But I wonder if it's also useful in like maintaining guns. And now before you laugh, saying you don't know what the hell you're talking about, which is pretty mostly true when it comes to guns. I mean, I know how to use them, but I'm no expert at breaking them down and all that. Haha, he said breaking them down. But would this be useful for pushing pins out when you're breaking it down all the way, when you're taking your gun down to its, I mean, I don't know. It seems like it'd be great for pushing pins. It's also great for, you know, just gripping like this. You got that jimping there, putting your thumb over, and, you know, whatever you need to go through, you can go through. It's pretty cool. I like it. Tires. Imagine you're a police officer and you have to, you know, imagine you just have to puncture some tires. This might be good. I don't know. They also might explode like they do on Ridiculousness and send you across the parking lot, which might be bad. All right, so now I don't mean to be talking out of school here. I don't have a tactical life. I just have tactical tastes. And this here, I'm going to put these over here as little guardians, if you will. But this here, man, wow, this is the star. Look at this. First of all, the sheath. It's got a welt of micarta. I mean, first of all, it's a kydex sheath with a welt. You had me there, but then it's micarta, and you know how much I love micarta. Now, this, as you can see, this is a little foreshadowing. This tool here is a little sort of screwdriver here. Winkler knives. I'll put it back here. Okay, so the sheath itself is lined. It's soft in there. So it goes in and out silently. And also, you don't get that obnoxious kydex marring all over your beautiful black oxide tumbled finish. All right, I'll put this over here. This is it. This is the Winkler Survival Striker. And this is a special edition. I believe Mista Filedo got this at Blade Show. This is numbered. Oh, wait. Yeah, 99. Ha, cool. That's a cool number to have, I think, 99. Out of, how many did they make? This is a special edition because this is black micarta. Now, if you order it from them, and it is a bit of a wait to get it, like, I don't know, 15 weeks, I think it said, something like that. You can either get it in green micarta, that's kind of smooth like this. I mean, this is nice and coarse. It's got a lot of texture, but it's got nothing milled into it. Or you can get a sort of brown, you know, sort of a camo layered G10 that has milled grooves and stuff in it. So this is a special edition, and it's a special knife, and I believe only like 150 of them were made for Blade Show, and Mista Filedo grabbed one, and it is just, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. This is 0.3 inches. It's a slab for sure. 80 CRV 2 comes down to an incredibly just crazy sharp edge, but is thick. It's, you know, it's fully flat ground for most of the blade. Just gorgeous. I gotta say, this little touch here of knocking off these corners, I love the utility of it, but I saw that and I just think it looks cool. You know me, I'm always talking about what looks cool to me, and to me that is just such a nice touch. It's got a very slight recurve, and I'm only seeing that in the monitor here. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. I think it was just the angle. It's got this nice, big, generous jimping. I like this jimping, especially with gloves in the wintertime, or, you know, if you're someone who wears gloves for your work and you need this knife for work, I think this kind of jimping is best. Of course, for, you know, for your naked skin, little jimping like this is great too, but for big gloves, yeah, that's the way you want to go. And these are nice and sharp. They really do grab you. As a matter of fact, I think I wouldn't want to do too much push-cutty work on hard materials with this jimping without gloves. I might come up here anyway, a little bit ahead of that jimping, and but anyway, this handle is really incredibly comfortable. This micarta is nice and thick, and then contoured and rounded, and, you know, I love the thick weave of canvas micarta, and, you know, they don't polish it here, so it has a micro texture that just, you know, it's grippy when it's dry, and you know how micarta gets when it's wet. It gets even better. You see a nice micro chamfer right around. That's nice. That's a nice touch because the tang sits proud of these nice micarta slabs, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You can't really feel it because these slabs are so thick. You know what I mean? But in any case, it's nice that they thought to chamfer it. This butt end here is just one solid 0.3 inch by, I don't know, 1 inch pounding surface. Pounding steaks or whatever you got to pound. Pork chops. So yeah, all sorts of uses for that kind of stoutness there. You got a lanyard hole, which is cool. So now the foreshadowing, I was talking about this screwdriver. Well, I'm not going to use this screwdriver. It works, but I'm going to use my own screwdriver, which I put a little, what do you call it? Gaffer's tape in there. I don't want to mar up these screws at all. This is a very nice knife and it's not mine. But when you unscrew the handle, I know you know what's coming up. I know you know, you probably know this knife. Oh, whoops. Hey, let me see if this, oh, that works nicely. Okay. I don't want to mar that up, like I said. So let's see here. Okay. All right. So when this thing comes out, at long last, there you go. And now I'm just going to pop out the other side. Well, I don't need to, actually. Yes, I do. I guess a little bit. There we go. And you slide that to the side. And then in here, you have a little bit of steel wool. You have a fire striker there. And I am imagining that this works great on that jimping, or just about anywhere up here, because this seems like a right angle here. But there you go. That's, you can put your survival gear here. And this is how you start your fire. You don't have your fire thing hanging out over here. It's in here with the material you need to get it all going. And it's got the screwdriver right here. And this is just a really appealing survival knife. And one of the reasons I tend to think of survival knives like this. Big, giant knives like this. And this would be good if, you know, but I feel like something like this, it's so sharp, it's so capable, it's got a great sort of bevel here, but it's very thick. You're not breaking this knife. And it's got this built-in fire starting capability. It just seems like the ideal survival knife. It just seems really cool. I think the Winkler knives are really appealing, and I think they're beautifully made. And I got a chance to hold some for the first time at Blade Show this summer. And man, I just love their philosophy. They also, there's a bit of a, you know, what's the term? Mystique around them. I know the SEALs, the Navy SEAL team guys really like the old Winkler knives. And I see why. Especially like this knife, it seems so, you know, it is big and it is kind of heavy. It's not big. I take it back. It's not big. That's what I was saying before. It's like a very nice size, but it's very girthy and capable. And it's heavy, but the weight relief you get from cutting that giant piece out, it's not that heavy at all. It's lighter than this, but this is huge, you know. So I'm really, really happy, really big fan of this knife. Really happy to have seen it, and very psyched to look into some knives like the Dynamis, what's like a Dynamis Alliance knife, I think. Also made by Winkler Knives. I know the Williams knives, all of those Quakens and Obakis and stuff. Those are made by Winkler Knives. I would love to get my hands on some of those. So I'm very excited to have experienced these, and thank you very much, Mista Filedo. Let me just before I close out this video, let me show it with a couple of other sort of fixed blade classics. here it is with a SOG. That's the Super Bowie, but you know, so a little bit bigger than the one that was actually used, but that's the basic shape. Here it is with a K-bar. So really nice, manageable size. Here it is with another one that's a classic. Classic war fighting knife from a different era. This one is, I mean, made this time, but this really earned its bones during World War II. And yeah. And then one last, here it is with the Prather. Oh, no. Well, here it is with the Prather War Bowie. I already said it, so I got to show it. Also a great knife. I think this would be excellent for survival, even though it looks very combative. And then here it is with this is probably the most relevant comparison that I have on the table. I have other knives that I could have and should have brought out, but in terms of like survival knife, obviously this is an inexpensive, mass-produced, you know, knife, but its intended purpose is as a survival knife. So I think that these two knives, that's probably the comparison to show. But this is they're different altogether in every way. By the way, the distal taper on this is this taper here, when you look at it from the spine, I mean, it just, I don't know, something about that. This is a beautiful knife. Mista Filedo, thank you so much for letting me borrow this and entrusting me with it. It's going back in the mail this week with a tear in my eye. It's been a pleasure. All right, thanks for watching.